2 words, that is all it took. I quit. Someone inside the Team USA training facility in San Juan said those words were coming from Caitlin Clark. And within hours, every corner of women's basketball was on fire. No press conference, no official statement. Just 2 words traveling out of a gym in Puerto Rico and spreading across social media faster than any roster announcement USA Basketball has ever made. And the speed of that reaction told you everything about what Caitlin Clark means to this sport right now. But here's what the headlines missed. This was not a meltdown. This was not impulsive. This was the breaking point of a pressure system that has been building for over a year. And one specific coaching decision made it structurally inevitable. What happened in that training camp was not a surprise to anyone who has been paying close attention. It was the logical end of a pattern. You have been watching this unfold, and if something about this whole situation felt off to you from the moment that coaching staff was announced, hit that like button right now, because we are about to connect every dot they glossed over. Start here. Caitlin Clark just completed the best rookie season in WNBA history. She led the entire league in assists. She finished 3rd in scoring. She took the Indiana Fever from 13 wins to 24 in a single year. That is not a step forward. That is a franchise transformation in 12 months. And it happened in the most watched women's basketball season ever recorded. None of that came easily, because this is the same player USA Basketball told to wait in 2024. When the Paris Olympics roster was finalized before her WNBA season even started, Clark was left off. The official explanation was straightforward. She had not yet proven herself at the professional level. Give her time, they said. So she went out and produced historic numbers in front of the largest audience women's basketball had ever drawn. When the 2025 Team USA roster dropped on February 4th, her name was finally on it. But the announcement landed like a form letter. 12 names in a list. Clark's somewhere in the middle. No feature image, no spotlight. No acknowledgement that this woman had done exactly what they asked and then exceeded it. One comment online captured the mood precisely. She had broken every record she could touch, and they still treated her like a backup plan. That single sentence earned over 40,000 likes before the roster announcement itself had widely circulated. The photo was just the opening signal. The real story arrived 3 days later when the coaching staff was revealed. Kara Lawson from Duke was named head coach. On paper, a credentialed resume. In practice, Duke spent the 2024-25 season as one of the most offensively stagnant programs in the country. Their spacing was broken. Ball movement was slow. Scoring dried up in late-game situations. Multiple analysts flagged it publicly throughout the year. This was not a quiet internal concern. It was widely documented. And now that same offensive identity was being installed for a roster that included Clark, Paige Buchers, Angel Reese, Chelsea Gray, and Kelsey Plum. Think about what that mismatch actually means. You have assembled the most explosive collection of offensive talent women's basketball has ever seen at the national level below the Olympics. And the system being built above them does not say, let them play. It says control the pace and protect the structure. That gap between what these players can do and what the coaching architecture was designed to allow is exactly where the tension originated. And then the assistant coaching staff was announced. That is when everything changed. Drop your honest reaction in the comments right now. Did you see this coming the moment Stephanie White's name appeared on that coaching staff list? Because that one detail changes the entire story. Here is the timeline you need to see laid out in sequence. April 2024, Stephanie White serves as a court coach at the Women's National Training Camp. She is between jobs at this point, not affiliated with any active team. October 2024, White is hired as head coach of the Indiana Fever, the same franchise Caitlin Clark plays for. December 2024, White returns to a Team USA event as an assistant. March 2025, White is officially on the coaching staff for the FIBA qualifying tournament in San Juan, 4 separate USA basketball appearances, all of them within Clark's professional orbit, in under 12 months. Now think about what that means for Clark as an athlete. She spent an entire WNBA season inside White's system. Every film session, every practice repetition, every play call, every timeout decision, all of it processed through one coaching philosophy. When the season ended, elite athletes at Clark's level typically get something critical: a reset, a different environment, a different voice, asking different questions, a different system that forces them to expand their game in ways their primary coach never challenged them. That developmental shift is not a luxury. It is how the best players in the world keep growing. Clark never got it. White followed her to the national team. And that is the core of what people were actually reacting to, even if they could not fully articulate why. Here is the on-court evidence that gives the frustration its foundation. Clark averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds in her rookie season, numbers that would place her in the top tier of the league in virtually any recent year. But analysts tracking her usage identified something important beneath the surface. Her shot attempts dipped in specific high-leverage moments. Her fourth-quarter involvement in close games ran below what you would expect for a player performing at her individual level. The clearest example came in Game 2 of Indiana's first-round playoff series against Connecticut. Indiana was down 4 with 3 minutes remaining. Clark had 22 points and was the hottest player on the floor. The ball did not find her the way it needed to. Indiana lost the game. They lost the series, and that sequence became a reference point that analysts and fans kept returning to when discussing how White's system related to Clark's strengths. That same dynamic traveled to Puerto Rico. Before the team flew south, Clark raised a concern in a team meeting. She did not make it personal. She did not call anyone out publicly. She asked directly why the offensive structure was limiting pick-and-roll actions and off-ball movement for the guards, specifically the things she does best. Kara Lawson responded. The exchange reportedly became heated. After that meeting, word moved through the camp. Clark had told teammates she was done, that she was thinking about leaving. Those two words, "I quit," started circulating before USA Basketball had any chance to contain the narrative. Clark showed up to practice the next morning, but sources described her as visibly different, quieter, less engaged. The energy in the facility shifted. Clips from the training camp started leaking, Clark standing apart during breaks, leaving the gym alone. Unremarkable images on their own. In context, each one told a different story. If this kind of analysis is why you keep coming back, consider joining the channel as a member. Your support is what keeps us going deeper on the stories that matter. Here is why this extends far beyond one qualifying tournament. San Juan is the first real audition for the 2026 FIBA World Cup in Berlin and, more critically, the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Players who get meaningful minutes here, who operate in systems designed around their actual skills, carry significant momentum into those roster decisions. Players who are managed into limited roles or forced into structures that do not fit their game are fighting uphill when the bigger selections happen. Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum, both veterans, both Paris gold medalists, carry years of institutional relationship with USA Basketball's selection structure. Clark enters this environment as the statistically dominant force in current women's basketball. But USA Basketball's traditional culture rewards longevity and hierarchy over raw performance metrics. With Stephanie White on the bench, whose Indiana rotations already demonstrated a preference for veteran-initiated sets, the concern inside Clark's camp is not hypothetical. It is backed by a documented year of evidence. Here is the trap that makes this particularly dangerous for Clark. If she underperforms at this tournament, if her minutes are restricted, if she operates off the ball, if the system limits her the way Indiana's did in critical playoff moments, the narrative will not focus on the structure. It will focus on the player. The system stays protected. Clark takes the blame. That is the pattern. And the fact that she identified it and said something about it in a team meeting is not the behavior of someone causing drama. It is the behavior of someone who understood exactly what was at stake and refused to stay quiet about it. Clark did not officially withdraw from the program. The tension is real. The frustration is real. But she is still in Puerto Rico, and that tells you something about the bigger picture she is playing toward, the 2028 Olympics on home soil in Los Angeles, in front of an American audience that has never been more invested in women's basketball than it is right now. The audience that showed up for this sport did not come for a system. They came for the players. And right now, the most watched player in women's basketball is standing in a training camp questioning whether the people running the program actually want to unlock what she can do. Subscribe and turn on notifications right now because the tournament runs through March 17th. And whatever happens in that San Juan gym will directly shape the conversation heading into the biggest women's basketball stages the sport has ever had. We will be covering every development the moment it breaks. The pattern we just walked through is not finished yet. Watch what happens next.